manufacturer of the jamming machine. You can't make this up. How many people who are using their drones to drop drugs and weapons into penitentiaries register the drone? How many? 0.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Question Period Canada, learning all about Canadian federal politics, sharing that with you. We've got these committee meetings. They're so exciting, guys. We get to see all the heavy hitters: Rachel Thomas, Larry Brock, Michael Barrett, Michael Cooper, Stephanie Cousy, Shannon Stubbs, Rick Perkins. There are so many heavy hitters, and the witnesses are always difficult. They never have the right answers. It's super interesting every time. Let's get into it. Let's check out another crazy committee video. Let's check it out.
Manufacturer of the jamming machine. You can't make this up. How many people who are using their drones to drop drugs and weapons into penitentiaries register the drone? How many? 0. And yet we expect our officers to work there without a door when it comes to the Bernardos and Magnotas of the world. But take solace, the pillows aren't softer. I'll go back to the letter now. When I first got word of Bernardo's move, I contacted several politicians of all different parties. Well, that was a pretty wise move. I was put in touch with an organization called My Voice, My Choice, which I'm sure that many people around this table have been in touch with. These are brave women who have spoken about their traumatic experiences as victims, and not only as victims, but what I would call, or other people have called, and I would adopt as secondary or systemic victimization. Systemic victimization, like the victims of Bernardo and Magnota are probably going through, dare I speculate, in these circumstances where the system reopens that scar, that victimization, or even the scar that's not completely closed. It just gets open again and again. So shout out to people from My Voice, My Choice. They contacted people to get things changed when it came to publication bans, and they contacted all parties. So I remembered that as reading this letter. I contacted several politicians of all parties. It wasn't my concern which party was better or worse, rather which party would listen and help get this horrible decision reversed. Well, we could have had 6 meetings to do this. In fact, the Liberals came in and said, we will have 6 meetings. Not only will we have 6 meetings, we want more witnesses, and we will add it. It was fairly nonpartisan, I thought. The Conservatives said we want it. We want the meeting. The Bloc signed on for an emergency meeting, and the NDP said we want the 6 meetings. And then the Bloc inexplicably says, no, we only want 1 meeting. And the Liberals gladly withdrew their witnesses and went to 1 meeting. Doesn't matter which party they say. They want this horrible decision reversed. Well, we couldn't actually even hear from the victims on that point because the victims were the witnesses who were excised from the witness list that the Liberals were all too happy to agree to initially with 6 meetings, and now, no, we only want 1 meeting. How is that victim-centered? How is that not contributing to secondary victimization? Mr. Chair, it is no doubt, in my view, that that is contributing to secondary victimization. More concretely, it's a complete slap in the face. A complete slap in the face to the victims who were watching and as a result wrote this very punchy letter, saying it 1,000 times better than I ever could have. The letter goes on. It was very clear today that the safety and well-being of the public is not a concern to certain people and their designated parties. We, as parliamentarians, should be concerned. I believe I know who this letter is referring to. I'll let the public judge for themselves. We've had a few personal attacks today. I'm not going to go there. People can watch the video themselves and see who they believe acted appropriately and see who didn't. They know who they are, and in their heart, I would hope they know whether they acted appropriately, especially with the dismissive language that was used, in my view. That personal agenda supersedes any of the victims, their rights, and the crimes committed against them. In other words, these are 3 women, victims as defined in the criminal code, in my view, said that the personal agenda of certain members around this table got in the way of us talking about what was important, of us talking about what matters. I'm going to say that again. And I would be remiss to Mr. Chair if I might interrupt. I know this isn't relevant, but I believe we have some young people from 4-H who've joined us as well. Is that correct? I know that a few of them are from my riding of Kamloops, Thompson, Caribou, so welcome. Mr. Couric is coming to say hello. I don't think he's ever had contact with an animal in his life, so you can educate him. Just look at his boots and you'll know.
Thank you, Mr. Caputo, and on behalf of the committee, I welcome our students, and once again, welcome to the thrust and parry of Parliament.
So, returning back, that personal agenda supersedes the victims, their rights, and the crimes against them. These are victims saying, people around this table put themselves and their political agendas above us. You know who you are. They put themselves and their political agendas above. And then not only that, afterwards, this committee refuses to study the Magnotta transfer that we all agreed to with the one meeting, which, as I noted, was the gutting of the 6 meetings that the Liberals initially agreed to. We haven't even gotten to that meeting. So the victims are saying politics is superseding victims. And what are we doing? Not even studying the very thing we agreed to study for the one meeting. At this rate, we won't study it till the fall. In fact, I think the Liberals and Bloc would be content if we never studied this at all. More concretely, we're not even presenting the draft report on the Bernardo study. What could possibly be more of putting a political agenda before victims than that? There's a report ready to go, is it not? At least to be discussed. We should be dealing with this, and yet the members of this committee will go on today with their daily lives, not having to live with the trauma that the victims of the Bernardo and Magnotta offences have to deal with. Many of them living who, again, nameless, faceless, voiceless. And this is the respect we show them. This is the respect we show them, that we don't even get to this report. Mr. Danson's quotes about the pillow from the chair, as he then was as a committee member. They were made December 4th last year. It is now May 23rd. 6 months have elapsed since that quote was made. And we don't even have a report to discuss to show for it, let alone a report that has been made public. And that lies at the feet of the Liberals, with the Liberals' hand being held by the Bloc. And today, the hand was held by the NDP when it came to not hearing from witnesses of auto theft. Just to be clear, and just for reference, Mr. Chair, I'm returning to the letter. Just to be clear, those who voted against us today I presume it's those who voted for the one meeting, that being the Liberals, at least 2 of whom are here today, present, and the Bloc, the member who is here present today. The NDP member was Mr. Julian. He did not vote. He voted for the 6 meetings, in fairness to him. Just to be clear, those who voted against us today, you are telling the victims and their families that what has happened to them wasn't that bad. Enough time has passed now, and the monster who committed these crimes against them has done the time and deserves to be rewarded, very key word there, rewarded and live better than most Canadians today. So let's dissect that. Sorry, I'm going to go on to the next line here. I want you to reread that again in bold. Paul Bernardo is living better than most Canadians today. I said that same thing, and I really heard about it. This is coming from the victims. So let's dissect this. You are telling the victims and their families that what has happened to them wasn't that bad. This is that secondary trauma, that secondary victimization I'm talking about. That this committee will not do what...
Rappel au règlement, Monsieur le Président.
A point of order, Mr. Chair. Go ahead, please. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, listen, we have microphones that work really well. We are hearing Mr. Caputo really, really well. Does he really have to shout? Maybe he can lower the volume a little bit. That could be good for everyone. And also, is he really obliged to repeat the same things? We're starting to understand his point. And again, a question for him. What's the position of the Conservative Party on S-210? Is that the reason why he is filibustering today? Does he not want to hear about that bill? Maybe he has other things to say on that.
Thank you, Madame Michaud. I would certainly urge Mr. Caputo to keep his volume down, and certainly on behalf of the members and certainly on behalf of the interpreters. I would also certainly advise that, we could get back on topic better, but go ahead.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. What do you think, gang? Point of order, Mr. Chair. What is going on in these committee meetings? We do get the best of the best. Larry Brock, Garnet Genu, Rick Perkins, Michael Chong, Michael Cooper, Shannon Stubbs, Michael Barrett, with Stephanie Cousy. The list goes on and on. They're always super interesting. Something else that's super interesting is the live show that we cover. We cover every question period daily broadcast. It's fun. Come join the community. It's a fun chat room if you like that kind of thing. We keep it clean, but we're learning about Canadian federal politics, and we'll continue with that and these series of videos about the committee meetings. So like, subscribe, get notified, share, all that fun stuff. Check out one of the other videos floating around here. We'll catch you next video. Thank you very much for watching this one. Also, check out our live broadcast. It's really fun. Like, subscribe, get notified, and share. All those fun things. We'll catch you next video. Thanks for watching.